So there's a lot of information on arthropods. I mean, I didn't want to overwhelm you all, but a lot of it's pretty interesting. So since we're in kind of in the coastal environment, I thought this was, some of these things you just don't really think about because they're insects. And I know back when I was in school, we were talking about conservation and environments. We really didn't focus on insects because the idea was there's so many insects, there's nothing that we can do that would ever impact them. So we don't really need to focus on them. But now they're finding that we are making an impact on insects. And I'll give you a few examples and then a few slides after this will highlight it. But the zooplankton in our waterways, they come to the surface at night to feed. They sink to the bottom at night. If there's a bright light, they won't come back up at night to feed because they think it's daytime. And then all the other species that rely on kind of that upwelling of zooplankton to come to the top at night are limited in their food source choices. So that can be kind of impacting higher up the food chain. There's research out of the University of Cincinnati that has found that light pollution can disrupt the migration and the kind of the navigation of monarchs, kind of disorient them, cause them to lose energy on their yearly migration. We talked a little bit about moths being attracted to lights as it relates to bats coming in and feeding, but they've also found that moths are just so, kind of kids at a candy store just focused on one thing, got amped up on energy, but they're so distracted by light that they're not going out to find food, they're not mating, and so species numbers can deteriorate because of that. And then a lot of moths are nighttime plant pollinators, and so if the moths are not out finding food, if the moths are not going out finding food, they're inadvertently not pollinating some of those night blooming flowers and can impact the plants as well. And we talked a little bit on a previous slide about the common strip with the fireflies and how lighting can impact their mating. They've also found that fireflies don't come out in brightly lit nights, and that's even full moon nights. So sometimes it's not even just with our artificial lighting, but the moon. But if you think about how many nights there are full moons versus how many nights a light could be on, a few nights out of the month versus every night of the month could over time make an impact.
Lori, how do the red lights that we propose to use, at least nocturnal season, how does it affect the arthropods and some of the other reptiles?
Great question. I will get to that. I have a visual slide to go along with that, so I'm glad you asked.